Imagine a machine so efficient it makes its competitors' blueprints look like ancient history. In the high-stakes world of Japanese logistics, where every single drop of diesel is weighed against pure profit, a new king has just been crowned. It's not a supercar, and it's not a futuristic electric prototype that can't handle a real day's work. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We are talking about the 2026 Mitsubishi Fuso Canter. Major corporations are already scrambling to get their hands on it, and the reason isn't just a new coat of paint. It's a technological coup that is threatening to rewrite the rules of the entire global trucking industry. Is this the end of the road for traditional trucks as we know them? The Japanese truck market is notoriously one of the most competitive environments on the planet. It is a place where reliability isn't just a selling point. It is a survival requirement. When Mitsubishi Fuso announced the 2026 Canter, the industry expected a standard evolutionary update. What they got instead was a revolution. At first glance, you might mistake it for your typical commercial workhorse, but as the technical specifications began to leak from the factories in Kawasaki, a different picture started to emerge. Mitsubishi hasn't just built a truck. They've engineered a weapon for the logistics war. The core of the hysteria surrounding this launch is a single, staggering statistic: fuel efficiency. The 2026 Canter doesn't just meet Japan's incredibly strict 2025 fuel efficiency standards. It obliterates them by an additional 5%. In some specific configurations, the performance gap is even wider. In an industry where profit margins are razor-thin, a 5% reduction in fuel consumption across a fleet of hundreds of vehicles translates into millions of dollars in saved overhead. This isn't just a minor tweak. It's a massive financial advantage that could bankrupt slower-moving competitors. But to truly appreciate the magnitude of the 2026 model, we have to look back at the DNA of the Canter itself. This isn't a new nameplate trying to find its footing. The Canter legacy began in the 1960s, a time when Japan was rebuilding its economy and needed a reliable backbone for its burgeoning small businesses. Back then, it was just a sturdy little truck. No one could have predicted that this humble vehicle would evolve into the global standard for light-duty transport. From the crowded neon streets of Tokyo to the rugged outback of Australia and the busy industrial hubs of Europe, the Canter became synonymous with indestructible. It earned a reputation as the partner you could trust with your eyes closed. Drivers often say that while other trucks are mere tools, a Canter is a teammate. Now, fast forward to 2026. We are living in a period of unprecedented transition. The world is obsessed with the electric revolution, and every headline is dominated by EV startups promising a green future. Yet, in the middle of this noise, Mitsubishi Fuso has doubled down on internal combustion. Why? Because they understand the harsh reality of the transport business that social media influencers often ignore. Cargo doesn't wait for a battery to charge. Heavy loads don't care about zero-emission promises when there's a deadline to meet. The 2026 Canter is Mitsubishi's answer to the EV versus diesel debate. It's a sophisticated hybrid of traditional mechanical toughness and ultra-modern digital precision. They've looked at the current landscape and realized that the world doesn't just need new trucks. It needs smarter ones. This model was designed specifically for the modern operator who is tired of rising fuel costs and increasing environmental regulations. By optimizing the diesel platform to unprecedented levels, they are offering a bridge to the future that doesn't require companies to throw away their existing infrastructure. But what exactly is happening under that cab? Is it just better aerodynamics? Or have they discovered a secret in engine physics that the rest of the world has missed? Industry experts are pointing toward a specific designation: the 4P10 Plus turbo diesel. This isn't just an engine. It's the result of decades of trial, error, and Japanese engineering perfectionism. It's a heart built for a marathon, not a sprint. To understand why this engine is shaking the market, you have to look beyond the cylinders. You have to look at how it breathes. Most engines are passive, but the 4P10 Plus is aggressive. It uses every bit of thermal energy that usually escapes through the exhaust and forces it back into the combustion cycle with surgical precision. This creates a loop of efficiency that makes older diesel engines look like they belong in a museum. We are seeing a shift where the digital brain of the truck is finally in perfect sync with its mechanical muscles. As we peel back the layers of this mechanical masterpiece, we find ourselves facing a mystery. How did Mitsubishi manage to squeeze more power and higher torque out of a smaller fuel footprint? And more importantly, what does this mean for the giants like Isuzu and Hino who are now watching their market share evaporate? The secret lies in a technology that most people think they understand, but very few actually do. But before we tear down the engine to see the magic inside, we have to address the elephant in the room: the duonic factor. If you think a truck's transmission is just about shifting gears, you're about to find out why you've been wrong your entire life. Stay tuned, because what we're about to reveal in the next section will change the way you look at a gearbox forever. The engineering inside this vehicle is designed to be invisible to the driver but undeniable to the accountant. Imagine a fleet manager sitting in an office, looking at a spreadsheet where the fuel costs suddenly drop by thousands of dollars a month without changing a single route. That is the power of the 2026 Canter. It's a silent partner in the global supply chain that is making everything else look slow and expensive. But the question remains: can this one truck really hold back the tide of electrification? Or is this the final, most perfect version of the diesel era before the lights go out? To answer that, we have to look at the numbers. In Japan, the transport sector is a pressure cooker. Efficiency isn't a goal. It's a requirement for existence. Companies there don't buy trucks because they look good. They buy them because they survive. And the Canter 2026 has survived every test they threw at it. From high-altitude mountain passes to the stop-and-go misery of urban congestion, this truck doesn't just run, it thrives. It's a masterclass in thermal management and friction reduction. Every single moving part inside that 4P10 Plus engine has been coated in materials that practically eliminate wear and tear. This means the truck stays on the road longer, requires fewer oil changes, and maintains its peak performance for years. This is how you win a market. You don't just build a better product, you build a product that makes the competition's life impossible. And Mitsubishi has done exactly that. They have created a situation where if you don't own a 2026 Canter, you are literally losing money every time your driver turns the key. The ripple effect is already being felt in the stock prices of rival manufacturers. They are realizing that the diesel age isn't over. It's just been upgraded to a level they weren't prepared for. If you think the engine is impressive, wait until you see how that power actually reaches the wheels. The connection between the fuel and the road is where most trucks fail, but it's where the Canter 2026 finds its soul. In the next chapter of this deep dive, we are going to explore the high-tech transmission that is baffling the industry experts and making manual gearboxes a thing of the past. It's a world of dual clutch systems and computer-guided shifting that feels more like a fighter jet than a delivery truck. If you want to know why this truck is the ultimate investment for 2026, you cannot afford to miss what comes next. The 4P10 Plus turbo diesel engine is not just a heart of steel and aluminum. It is a sophisticated biological-like system of precision and power that serves as the ultimate secret of the Mitsubishi Fuso Canter 2026. While the world is distracted by the flashy promises of unproven technologies, Mitsubishi has perfected the one thing that actually moves the global economy: high torque, high-efficiency combustion. To understand why this engine is shaking the foundations of the trucking industry, we have to look deeper than the cylinder head and into the very physics of how energy is harvested. The 4P10 Plus is a four-cylinder masterpiece designed specifically for the brutal, non-stop demands of light and medium-duty transport where every single second of downtime is a financial disaster. For the modern truck driver, the engine is more than a component. It is the difference between a profitable month and a complete loss. This is why Mitsubishi has engineered this power plant to achieve a perfect, almost impossible balance between raw pulling power and a microscopic fuel footprint. Most people believe that a turbocharger is simply a device for speed, a performance booster for racing cars, but in the 2026 Canter, the turbo is a master of recycling. Every time an engine runs, it creates immense amounts of heat and exhaust gas that usually just disappears into the atmosphere, wasted. But the 4P10 Plus uses an advanced variable geometry turbocharger that captures that escaping energy and force feeds it back into the engine with surgical precision. This creates a high-pressure environment where every single molecule of diesel is vaporized and burned to its absolute limit. The result is a truck that feels like it has the lungs of a giant while consuming the fuel of a much smaller vehicle. This massive advantage is felt most when a driver is facing a steep incline with a full load of cargo. In a traditional truck, you would feel the engine struggle, the vibrations shaking the cab as the fuel needle dropped visibly. But in the 2026 Canter, the turbo technology provides a flat torque curve that allows the truck to glide up hills with a silent, terrifying efficiency. But the engine's brilliance doesn't stop at the turbo. It extends to the very nerves of the machine, the common rail fuel injection system. In older generations of trucks, fuel injection was a blunt instrument, spraying diesel into the cylinders in a way that was often uneven and wasteful. The 2026 model uses a high-pressure system controlled by an advanced central processor that makes millions of calculations every single second. It decides exactly when to spray, at what pressure, and for how many microseconds. This level of digital control means that the engine runs with a smoothness that was previously unheard of in the diesel world. There is no more black smoke, no more rough idling, and most importantly, no more wasted money. Every drop of fuel is accounted for, tracked, and utilized for maximum forward motion. This is the secret of the shaking market. Mitsubishi hasn't just improved the engine, they have digitized the very act of combustion. For a transport company, this reliability is the holy grail. If a truck breaks down on a highway, the cost isn't just the repair. It's the lost reputation, the late delivery fees, and the idle driver. The 4P10 Plus has been torture tested in the most extreme environments on Earth, from the humid jungles of Southeast Asia to the freezing mountains of northern Japan, ensuring that it can operate continuously for hundreds of thousands of kilometers without a single hiccup. It also integrates a revolutionary emission control system that cleans the exhaust to such a high standard that it meets the world's toughest environmental regulations without sacrificing a single horsepower. This is why, even as electric trucks begin to appear on the horizon, the Canter 2026 remains the dominant topic of conversation. It offers the now solution, a truck that is cleaner than ever, more powerful than ever, and cheaper to run than anything else in its class. But how does all that power actually reach the wheels without being lost in the friction of the drivetrain? This is where we encounter the second half of the 2026 revolution, the duonic transmission system. In the world of commercial vehicles, the transmission is often the weak link where energy goes to die. Manual gearboxes are exhausting for drivers in city traffic, leading to fatigue and human error, while traditional automatics are often heavy and fuel-hungry. Mitsubishi's duonic system is the missing link that the industry has been searching for. It is a dual-clutch transmission that effectively gives the truck two brains. While one clutch is engaged in the current gear, the second clutch is already pre-selecting the next one, waiting for the perfect millisecond to take over. When the shift happens, it is so seamless and so fast that the driver barely feels a change in momentum. There is no shift shock, no loss of power, and no wasted fuel during the transition. For a truck carrying 5 tons of cargo, this smoothness is a game changer. It reduces the physical stress on the mechanical components of the drivetrain, meaning the truck lasts years longer than a standard vehicle. This synergy between the 4P10 Plus engine and the duonic transmission creates a driving experience that is more akin to a high-end luxury car than a rugged commercial truck. It empowers the driver to focus on the road and the safety of the cargo rather than fighting with a heavy gear lever all day. But the most significant impact of this dual technology is the sheer economic weight it carries. When you combine an ultra-efficient engine with a transmission that never misses a beat, you get a vehicle that redefines the concept of operational cost. Fleet managers are looking at the 2026 Canter and seeing a machine that pays for itself. If a truck saves even a few liters of fuel every 100 kilometers, the cumulative savings over a 5-year lifespan can equal the entire purchase price of a second truck. This is the reality that is keeping the CEOs of rival truck companies awake at night. They are realizing that Mitsubishi has not just updated a model. They have moved the goalposts of the entire industry. The Canter 2026 is a statement of intent, a declaration that diesel technology still has a long, profitable future ahead of it if it is handled with this level of Japanese engineering genius. But the story doesn't end with the mechanics. There is a larger battle happening in the global market, a struggle between the tradition of diesel and the promise of electric. Why is it that in an era where everyone is talking about batteries, the world's biggest logistics players are still lining up for a diesel truck? To understand this paradox, we have to look at the cold, hard numbers of the transport business and the infrastructure reality of 2026. What happens when a global supply chain meets a charging grid that isn't ready? And how does the Canter 2026 exploit this gap to become the most important vehicle of the decade? The answers lie in the next phase of our investigation, where we look at the diesel versus electric war and why the 2026 Canter might be the final victor. The transition to a fully electric world is often portrayed as a fast and inevitable shift. But the reality of the global transport infrastructure in 2026 tells a much more complex story. This is the third and most critical piece of the puzzle. Why, in an era dominated by news of breakthroughs in solid-state batteries and megawatt charging, is the Mitsubishi Fuso Canter 2026, a diesel-powered machine, the most talked-about vehicle in the logistics sector? To understand this, we have to look at the brutal mathematics of the range versus revenue equation. For a transport company, a truck is not a lifestyle choice. It is a mobile asset that must generate profit every single minute it is on the road. Electric trucks, while technologically impressive, currently face a wall of practical limitations that the Canter 2026 exploits with surgical precision. The first and most obvious factor is the charging chokehold. A diesel truck like the Canter can pull into a refueling station, fill its tanks in less than 10 minutes, and immediately embark on a journey of several hundred kilometers. In the high-pressure world of just-in-time delivery, where a delay of even 30 minutes can trigger massive contractual penalties, this speed is life. Electric trucks, even with the most advanced fast chargers, still require significantly more downtime. And in many parts of the world, including the long highways of Australia, the vast industrial zones of Southeast Asia, and even parts of rural Europe, the infrastructure to charge a heavy-duty fleet simply does not exist yet. This is where the Canter 2026 becomes the ultimate pragmatic choice. It doesn't ask the business owner to wait for a government to build a charging grid. It provides a future-proof solution that works today, tomorrow, and 10 years from now. The second factor is the weight penalty. Batteries are heavy, incredibly heavy. To give an electric truck the same range as a diesel Canter, you have to pack it with thousands of kilograms of lithium-ion cells. Because every country has strict legal limits on the maximum total weight a truck can carry on public roads, every kilogram of battery is a kilogram of cargo that you cannot carry. For a business moving heavy construction materials, agricultural products, or industrial machinery, this loss of payload is a direct hit to the bottom line. The 2026 Canter, with its lightweight 4P10 Plus engine and optimized chassis, offers the maximum possible cargo capacity within its weight class. It allows a company to move more goods in fewer trips, which is the purest form of efficiency. Furthermore, the reliability of diesel in extreme conditions is a proven fact. Batteries hate the cold and they struggle in extreme heat, often losing significant range when the thermometer swings. But the Canter has been engineered to survive the most punishing climates on Earth. Whether it's idling in the sweltering humidity of a tropical port or starting up in the sub-zero mornings of a mountain pass, the mechanical soul of the Fuso remains indifferent to the weather. This go-anywhere, do-anything capability is why diesel remains the undisputed king of the heavy-duty world. But the impact of the Canter 2026 goes far beyond its own fuel tank. It is sending shockwaves through the headquarters of every major truck manufacturer on the planet. When a giant like Mitsubishi Fuso proves that they can extract 5% more efficiency from a diesel platform, it forces the entire industry to react. We are currently witnessing a technological arms race among the world's biggest players. Companies like Isuzu, who have long held a dominant share of the light-duty market, are now under immense pressure to upgrade their own engine lineups. They cannot afford to let Mitsubishi offer a lower total cost of ownership. Hino, another Japanese powerhouse, is likely looking at the Duonic transmission system and realizing they must innovate their own shifting technology to stay competitive. Even global giants like Tata Motors in India or Volvo in Europe are taking notes. In markets like India, Where the trucking industry is the lifeblood of the economy and cost sensitivity is at its peak, the success of a high-efficiency diesel model like the Canter 2026 could delay the widespread adoption of electric trucks for another decade. Why would a small fleet owner take a risk on expensive, unproven EV technology when they can buy a Canter that is 5% cheaper to run than their previous model and is guaranteed to last 15 years? This is the Canter effect. It is proving that diesel technology is not a dying legacy. It is a maturing science. Mitsubishi has shown that there is still massive room for improvement in the internal combustion engine if you apply modern computing and advanced materials. By focusing on aerodynamics, friction reduction, and intelligent energy management, they have created a vehicle that meets modern environmental standards while still offering the raw, unyielding power that the world's supply chains depend on. For the drivers and the small business owners, this truck represents a lifeline in a volatile economy. It represents a way to keep prices stable for the consumer and profits healthy for the operator. It is a tool of empowerment for the person who spends 12 hours a day behind the wheel, providing a cabin that is quieter, a ride that is smoother, and a fuel bill that is finally manageable. As we look toward the future, the Mitsubishi Fuso Canter 2026 stands as a monument to Japanese engineering philosophy. It is a reminder that the best solution is often the one that balances innovation with reality. While other companies are chasing headlines with concept trucks that may never see a real highway, Mitsubishi has delivered a machine that is ready to work today. It is shaking the market because it challenges the narrative that diesel is over. It proves that with enough ingenuity, you can make a traditional engine perform in ways that were once thought impossible. This truck is not just a new model. It is a signal to the entire world that the race for the future of transport is far from decided. Whether you are a fleet manager looking to slash your overhead, a driver looking for a reliable partner on the road, or an enthusiast of high-end engineering, the 2026 Canter is a vehicle that demands your attention. It is the bridge between the world we have and the world we are building. A high-torque, fuel-sipping, indestructible bridge made of steel and genius. This is why the industry is shaking. This is why the competition is nervous. And this is why the Mitsubishi Fuso Canter 2026 is, without a doubt, the most important truck launch of the decade. If you want to stay ahead of the curve in the rapidly changing world of automotive technology and industrial breakthroughs, you need to keep your eyes on the road, because the 2026 Canter is leading the way, and it isn't slowing down for anyone.